We are 2 or 3 minutes late, but we've got everybody on the bench, so we shall get started with our formal council meeting. This is our call to order and our official welcome. Thank you for being in attendance. Please don't let this be the only occasion that you graduate with your presence. It's your city, you should feel free to come and be a part of it. As has been the past policy, we'd like to start each meeting in prayer. We ask you that you will stand and remain standing for the pledge of allegiance. So if you would do so now, we would appreciate it. Let's pray, please. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, Father, as we call on you, we call, Father, for your grace, for your mercy, for your love, for your forgiveness. And we ask, Father, that you would just lead and guide us as we are busy about the city's business, that each and everything that's said and done might be done in a proper way, proper manner, and that you would be glorified, Father, that we might put self aside and we might consider the city's business. Father, for all those that are protecting our freedoms to do this, wherever they're at, we ask your watch care over them. And thank you, Father, for their willingness to go bat for our freedoms. Father, again, for all those that are in need, we pray that you would just touch as the master physician, that you would forgive us of our sins and our shortcomings and guard us in thy service. For it's in Jesus' name we ask these blessings. Amen. Thank you, allegiance, please. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated, please. We're at item 4. If you care to go along with us, there are some agendas in the end aisle chairs. Clerk will have a roll call.
Councilmember Warren.
Here.
Councilmember Toll. Here. Councilmember Clendenin.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Quigley.
Here.
Mayor Beard.
Here. With the exception of the vacant seat, we're all present and accounted for. We are at the count of 5. We are in official session. With that, we'll move to item 5, adoption of the previous meeting minutes, which include June 26th work session, June 26th regular session, June 10th no quorum work session, June 10th no quorum regular session. What say the council?
I move to dispense with the reading and minutes and adopt as presented.
Have a motion to accept as presented. Do you second that motion?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion before we vote thereof? Hearing none, all those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Any opposed with nay? Motion carried with 5 ayes. Item 6, adoption of the agenda. I understand the council has some wishes.
Move to adopt the agenda.
Have a motion to adopt the agenda. We have a second to that.
Second.
We have a second to that.
No, you did that.
We have a second to that. Now we have open discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry. We need to adopt, you got me confused. We need to amend the agenda. And I have a motion to, you want me to read it now?
If the makers of the motion wish to hear that, I'm sure they do.
Okay, I move to amend the agenda, to put on the agenda the question and answer form in the council chambers as requested by the Lions Club. Date to be decided at a later date.
And what item, please?
It's not on here.
11 11
Okay, it'd be new business, so it'd be 11 I.
And that is, what do you refer to it as?
It's the question and answer form.
Form? Political form?
Well, it's question and answer on what the candidates
I'm sorry,
are going to work
It's
for.
a candidate form.
candidate form? Okay, anything else? Now, we've still got to go through the voting process, but was there anything else? Okay, so that concludes the proposed change. Will the maker and the second of the maker agree with this change?
Yes.
Go first with the second. I'm sorry, second.
Yes, I agree with the change. Adopt the agenda with the change of adding 11 Lions Club request.
Second that motion?
I said, oh, I made the motion.
I second.
A second. Okay. All those in favor with an aye?
Aye.
Okay. That carries with 4 ayes. Yes, sir. I'm thanking both.
One abstention.
No, thanks, thank you both. And you'll understand later. Okay, so we've concluded item 6. Is that correct, council? We have the agenda, we have the work of the night in front of us, so we're ready for number 7. Any public comments concerning agenda items wishing to be heard before the council discusses any of those items? Hearing none, seeing no hands raised, we'll move forward. Item number 8, standing committee reports. Administrative committee, Ms. Cole.
Nothing at this time.
8B, government committee, Mr. Warren.
No report.
8C, legislative is vacant. I don't know if anybody has any legislative report. Assume not. 8D, revenue committee, Mr. Pickett.
No report this time.
8E, new tax position, Ms. Clendenny.
I've actually got a couple of things I want to bring up right now.
Are they there or they should be?
They're just things I want to bring up. Yeah.
We'll wait for your report.
Doesn't matter. Let me do one of them right now.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to see the council or new council, y'all start thinking about something. Probably most of you have heard of World Changers. It's Lifeway's taking it over. It used to be a commission board, commission board at it. It's something that it's in the county right now already. World Changers is, and the way it works is Anniston does a lot of it. The municipalities go through a selection process and select homes that are in dire needs of repairs, i.e. roofs or painting. And the city actually funds, and this is something for next year, next summer, will put up funds and pay for the material. Now, World Changers comes in and it's 12-year-old kids to college kids that come in and they do all the repairs. There's no liability to the city, we just supply the materials for it. I'd like the council to actually consider that next year, and I'm gonna bring it up to the council as it gets closer. It will be November, December when we have to start selecting a home and getting the funds and being ready for it. But it's just something that I think that we're talking about beautifying the city and doing things to help the citizens. This is something that we might be able to do. So, keep it in mind.
Okay.
It's a great program.
Okay, moving on then to item 9, department reports, and I apologize for, we didn't go back to give the department heads an opportunity in a work session, so I apologize to the department heads for that. We got busy on discussing other items. But 9A, financial spreadsheet, Mr. Reese has already informed us that the time just didn't allow itself to prepare that for tonight's meeting. So we don't have that available to us at the moment. 9B, public works, Mr. Thunder.
Do have a few things, we talked about in the work session, the well 2 equipment, chlorination equipment, that should be being replaced this week. Also, our Kusi handheld equipment for our meter readers did come in. The training for that should take place Thursday morning, so hopefully after Thursday we'll have some new equipment to be able to provide that service. We did have some discussion earlier about some vehicle concerns. I just want to prompt you to really look at that. Try to find some way of clearing enough money to get some equipment. We're on a need basis in a bad way, so. I know this is something that's been talked about for a while. This is something that we are into a point now where we're having a hard time providing the service for the city of Weaver that we need to be able to provide them with some of the equipment that we got, so. if I can get there, it'd be great.
Well, those breaks need to be attended to.
The only other thing I got is what we talked about, whatever we decide to do on the dumpster situation, just let me know when I need to do what I need to do.
Don't forget to mention the flashers of the 3 trucks.
Yes, thank you. We was looking at a safety concern we had was some wearing vests, flashing lights, sometimes a good situation, sometimes it's just a little more needed. And at this particular point in time, we have been told that it would be nice to be able to be more visible at certain times in certain places. So we have got a price to put flashing in 4 corners of the 3 pickup trucks that we got to see what that does. Maybe that'll get us a little more visible in certain places.
What would be involved in fixing these seat belts? I noticed on the city service truck, that the seat belt on passenger side road.
Yeah, our issue, I think, is gonna be trying to find some parts for some of this. We may have to go to the junkyard and try to retrieve some parts for some of these older vehicles. We just have to,
Since we have a seat belt law, I think we need to abide by it.
correct.
Are lap belts still blue?
I don't know, Chief.
They are, if that is all that's in the vehicle.
They're still available aftermarket lap belts. That were installed as opposed to the ones that finally used when they scrap yard.
Well, that would be, with the shoulder belt on the other side, that's gonna be creating an issue.
It's going to come down, it's going to come down really to the gear and make the vehicle. That is the determining factor on the lap belt.
I'll check it.
The only reason I know that is because I recently installed something as well. I looked on the internet and it's still like, in fact, they're pretty much cheap.
While Joe is talking, would this be a good time for the council to address the fact about this time being up next week? Did you say that had to be in the form of a motion? Okay, so we can discuss that right here, right? I'll go first. I'm in definitely favor of moving him to full-time. He's done an outstanding job for the last 6 months, and to me, the street department, the water department is in a better place than it was 6 months ago.
For the audience's benefit, Mr. Conger's 6 months trial date is expiring in the next few days. He's eligible to be made permanent, and that's what we're talking about.
Not a raise. No raise.
I agree with what you said. I'd like to see the permanent status.
I insist on permanent status. Joey, you're a good one, we really appreciate you.
So the council is unanimously in approval of Mr. Conger's permanency. Thank you.
I want some money to fix this.
Just don't
You
let
heard me
the
say
policeman
unanimous.
give you a ticket.
Yes, he does get those.
Well, let me vote again.
Well, that's good as something.
You may have to pay it out in fines.
Yes,
It's gonna be cute when our city police pull over our city trucks.
Okay, that was item 9B. Anything else on that before we vote? Hearing none, 9E, Mr. Bush.
Yes, sir, I've given each of you a copy of the police department report for the month of June. One thing I want to point out to you is the number of arrests being at 60. That's a little elevated from what you're used to seeing on a monthly basis. 15 of those cases are one defendant from breaking and entering into several automobiles. Having said that, I really want to take a moment and give a little credit to my staff. We've had a couple of cases that made the media since your last meeting. One of those was apprehension of an individual that stole several $1,000s worth of cell phones from soldiers on Fort Club. We also had numerous breaking and entering of cars early morning hours of June the 28th. Within a 24-hour period of notice of that, we had arrest and we had recovered all of the property. Also, since your last meeting, we've had the burglaries on Main Street, same situation, within 24 hours notice. both subjects apprehended and confessions obtained. Having said all that, again, I'd like to take a moment to thank my staff for that. I'd like to take a second and just ask the council, and I'll explain this in a moment. What is the council's opinion of the job performance of the police department?
I think it's good.
We all want to jump to that one.
No kidding.
Being that you are representative of the citizens, do you have any complaints from citizens for me?
I don't, I think that's an outstanding job.
The only complaints I get are the same ones that complain that,
The sky's blue.
yeah,
What I hear is they're doing an outstanding job, and I believe that. The only thing I get, and it makes me so mad, is they go back 15, 20 years, and they say, well, you can't go through Weaver, you're gonna get a speeding ticket.
Right.
And I tell them, are you speeding? And, well, yeah, well, then you need a speeding ticket. But other than that,
I want to take time to ask you that simply for the benefit of my staff, because this is a political season, and rumor mill is already up and running. Without getting into that, just I want to hear from you of what your impression is, so that they can hear it for themselves.
How far down toward the Anderson jurisdiction?
Just prior to Cave Road.
I've just seen some cars way down.
You're going to see my units outside of being visible jurisdiction lines for people who choose not to stop this side.
That's what it is.
I've been allowing everybody to go before I do, so.
I give you thumbs up. I think our arrest rate, everything that has been good for us, you know, that was good. Before you go, I'm gonna ask you a question. Since we've made the move to move back out into the PJ,
Yes, sir.
how has that affected your staff and your performance within the city limits?
Obviously, this is something I addressed back when we pulled out. When we pulled out, we lost a lot of intel, especially with narcotic cases. Being that we have expanded, we have been able to intervene in a lot of methamphetamine production, other things that have a direct relation to property crime and many other things. So I would say that it is positive.
Okay.
Well, I'm proud of all the meth rings that's been broken up by Weaver. And I could care less where they went, as long as they're not in Weaver. They need to be in jail.
You're gonna find down back down on the political stuff. It's not intended as a political stuff whatsoever. For those of you that didn't have the opportunity to hear what I said, it's on tonight on TV, what I said about our police departments on the air, and we're sitting here. So if you don't believe what I'm telling you, just go home and listen on the air, and you'll hear what I said. But as mayor of this city, I'm going to tell you, Chief, and I'm not trying to blow smoke in anybody's head. Our police department has made my life, has made it simple and easy. There's been a lot of people that would like to second guess and micromanage, so to speak, always having suggestions about not doing this and not doing that. I hope you feel that this council, including myself, have never backed up to that one bit. That we support our police department 150% in the efforts that's being extended towards our protection. We talked about the meth. We have protection in our jurisdiction now that gives us that additional ring of protection that otherwise we would not have and did not have while we was withdrawn. It was evidenced by what happened right up here on top of Sanders Hill. We're not putting anything of what might have been hearsay, what might would have happened. We're talking about reality of what did happen. Yes, we have had a past reputation of being a speed trap from, I don't know, 20 years ago to Clinton. I think it's longer than that.
As long as they're not.
And I don't know that we'll ever get over that, and I don't know that we have to get over that, to be quite honest with you. If you're speeding in Weaver, don't speed in Weaver. It's simple, just don't do it. obey the traffic laws and everything will be fine. You see, these reports are online for everybody. They're not just for this council. They're online where you can go to the website and you can see it yourself. And you can see all the people that were not fined, arrested, or anything else. This council, and I want to speak for not just myself, but the entirety of the council, we have seen in the last, just since this election came about, it seemed like, but I'm not climbing that election stump, but over on 21, we get a lot of flack about it. We've seen cases broke over there. That was a tremendous asset to all concerned, even those beyond us. We've seen that police protection that we just talked about with the cars that breaking into order was outside the PJ property, not outside city limits property in the PJ, and within a short time period. My own business was attempted break-in, so I thank you personally as well as the mayor, as well as this council. So, and not just you, Chief, the entirety of the staff. I couldn't go on to say enough. I really couldn't, and I don't do that to blow smoke or get anybody big head. But from the dispatchers taking calls at all hours of the night, dealing with extreme circumstances. If every other mayor knew what we had here in Weaver, they'd be trying to steal them away from us. Bear with me just for a moment, please. So my commendations, the council's commendations, and please share with all those that have any questions. They are supported.
Again, I thought it important, this being a political season, just what's come to my attention, that the staff be able to hear that from you.
That's great. In just a moment, I wanted to go, I've heard some of it too. And I'm here to say to the audience, I'm sure Chief Bush would love to make $97,000 a year, but that is not the truth. So when you're hearing these vicious rumors because of political season, listen to them with one ear and think about it with the other ear. I'm sure he smiled when I said this. I'm sure he would appreciate making that kind of salary, but common sense has to prevail somewhere. But from this mayor, yes, sir, 150%. Now, Ms. Cole.
I just want to say that I've had some dealings with Chief Bush and his staff when my husband was so sick and he would fall in the middle of the night. I would call the dispatcher and they would send whoever they could find out there to help get him up and get him back in bed. And nobody in this world would know how much that meant to me, to know that I had supported the police, that they could give me some help. And I live alone, but I feel real comfortable. I'm not afraid. I don't, I just don't feel like I can say enough.
Exactly. And if you ever hear anything to the contrary, Chief, you please bring it to any of our attention. So.
$97,000? I hadn't heard that.
I hadn't heard that one.
I haven't heard that one either.
That's about 5 years to make that much.
About 3.
Anything else, Chief?
No, thank you.
Thank you for that, Chief. We appreciate that. We do not give out remarks of support as often as we should. Moving on to 9D, Fire Department Chief Buck.
I provided the council with a monthly report for June. And the only other thing I have is I have been for 2 fire grants. It is that time of year. Again, I'm 0 for 6, but I'm going to keep trying.
Don't give up.
Maybe one day I'll get one.
Somebody put
Let's hear it.
Les Hill. How come Les Hill buck grants?
Who's the grandfather?
Take all the help I can get.
There you go. I read that.
I had that.
Keep applying, keep soliciting what help you can get, keep moving forward.
Well, while we're talking about grants, may I ask you a question?
Sure.
If I went back and took would that be at my expense or would the city, if I could write grants to the city free of charge?
How would you know if you were secure enough? What if it's a bad grant writer?
I'm not bad at anything.
Yeah, we got bad right.
We already got one bad one, we don't need two.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
So how are we gonna answer that question?
I just wondered if there was, anything, anywhere where you would help somebody go back to school. It's a 2-day class, 23rd and 24th in August.
Trust me, in 2-day class, kind of read that we're talking about. They
Well, I
can't teach
can
you.
go back and, I go back in September and take an advanced course. But
But what-
I've already registered, so.
Okay, where we at here? 9D, 9E, Mr. Howard's not with it. He's not back there, is he?
No.
Mr. Howard, by the way, I don't mean to talk behind his back, but Mr. Howard would still seek our continued prayers for our son. Zach Howard still has these encephalitis and ongoing problems, so as you community prayers, keep mentioning that in my family.
I got a comment.
Yes, sir.
I had no idea Mike had been moved to apartment.
I didn't either.
Council Dick?
No, we don't.
No.
We've not voted on it. It was brought to this council, it was done.
They have all discussed that they wanted to do that process.
But we never voted on it. We never, I was blown away. I'm not, I think we need to take action and do it properly and go back to the date.
They went all the way through the civil services.
Okay. It was done April.
No, we can do it right, yeah, we need to do it right, let's by all means, let's do
It
it
was
right.
done April 26th, I think that was the date, so. Wow. But it didn't go through the council. I mean, we talked about it, we were gonna do it, but we've never acted on it.
The city council came to me, civil service came to meet with us in that meeting, and we processed. So, okay, well, do we need to make a motion on that at the appropriate time?
I think we do, we need to go back to the exact date though, if you would.
Maybe have that for us for the next meeting.
Have that date, have put it on the agenda for next meeting.
And matter of fact, when you do that, pull out all the records of what went on there. Okay. 9F, we don't have Mr. Mooneyham with us tonight. It's not like we just don't have. 9G, city clerk, Ms. Dishon.
We just recently went through all the qualifying period that ended July 17th. We had 12 candidates. There were 3 for mayor, 2 for place 1, 1 for place 2, 2 for place 3, 3 for place 4, and 1 for place 5.
Have a total of 12
that qualified. And we're moving on to the election.
Bless you. I mean, with just being city clerk, that should be enough, but with all the other expertise, I've seen added to you. Bless you.
All the resolutions that we talked about earlier are down below, right? We don't have to take anything out.
Okay, we're ready for council reports, 9H. What was you doing, Ms. Dishon? Council reports, 9H, before.
The only thing I want to report is the WEEP alumni had their community yard sale last weekend. I don't know what was made for the applying for a scholarship, but it was a pretty good turnout. And we appreciate the city allowing us to be part of that fundraiser.
While you're talking about the fundraiser, I'd like to take the opportunity of something, as the chief reiterated, among the goal about community I'd like to challenge this council that this is not the correct approach. I recently heard it said that the youth of this community was prohibited from having car washes to raise money for their purposes. When I heard that, I immediately jumped to that to say that was not correct. As a matter of fact, I further extended the invitation to the youth, if they wish to have a car wash, that they could have it even here at the city hall, using the city furnished water free of charge. But there wasn't anybody accepting that at the time. That is the correct case, isn't it, council?
Yes, it was when they did away with the roadblocks and they did that.
But yet, for some reason, they're under the impression, or some of them are, that they're not permitted to do that. And if anybody in the crowd is part of that, please extend the knowledge to them that we welcome it as a city. Okay, moving on then. That was item 9H. 9I, Mr. Pickett.
I have no report this time.
9J, Ms. Cole.
Well, I don't know if it's under the administration, but we have interviewed three people, excuse me, for the vacant council job, and we will interview 2 more next week, so maybe we'll have an answer. And we'll sit here next to me by next week.
Okay. 9K, is that? Okay, 9K is vacant, just what Ms. Cole just referred to. 9L, okay.
Yeah, a couple things. Joey, did you get a clear answer from us about the dumpster? No, I didn't.
No.
The answer was that we was going to check into more about the legality of the payment.
Hey, okay.
Wasn't it that? Wasn't it
I would,
Yes.
I would suggest, you think that's something we can have by the first of the month, have it out there so that we,
Yeah, if we're gonna put it out there.
we need to do it on a month.
first.
Yeah.
Our best.
Okay. It won't take council action, so whatever y'all come up with, but I'd like to see it out there by the first of the month, if possible. Either ours or.
It needs to be started on.
Yes. Otherwise, we're gonna be 30 more days out, so, if you could. The only other
As
thing.
a matter of fact, let me ask you a question, Council.
Yes.
Understanding the necessity of time and starting at a time period, and we are servicing some at the current moment. If we should decide to change, we can always change.
Yeah.
So why don't we go ahead and give Mr. Congress the authority to go ahead and place that,
Okay.
and get that done, and we can always revert.
Well, let him know so he can cancel his dumpster for next week, give him enough time.
So if I can get it set up, we can take it out there Monday.
Yeah,
Well, this is, as soon as you can to make the transition for him.
yeah, because he's gonna be paying for that. If
Do you
this
want me
is-
at the store, or do I need to call him, or?
No, you just have to catch him there.
Okay.
And I got it.
Yeah,
Like I
I
said.
All right.
But that way we can always revert back.
Yeah, if we have to, whatever we gotta do.
And that way you can go ahead and proceed and everything. Okay, that was, let's see where we, something else, sir?
Yeah. Are y'all happy with the recycle bin out here? Y'all getting good feedback on it? You don't like it, you like it?
Fills up too fast.
Fills up too fast.
Yeah,
It does,
yeah.
especially the cardboard bin. What would y'all think about, me getting with Gary Angel? And he's got plenty of lots out there and land out there. If he was willing to put a recycle bin out in Buckhorn, would y'all be okay with that?
One like we have here.
Just like this, set it out there, we get the county to do it, let them haul it, get rid of it. We kind of roughed in some numbers of the amount of tons that go through that dumpster. And every ton that goes through that dumpster, Joey doesn't have to haul away. And it's saving us buku. It is. It's saving us trips to the landfill, it's saving us tonnage when we get there.
This council would have any objections if you placed 3 or 4 of them throughout the community.
Okay, well, I'd like to see one out Buckhorn Way.
If Gary Angel would be willing to consider that,
Okay, y'all good with that? All right.
I mean, I have no objection.
What about putting 2 out here?
Well, we talked about putting 2 out here, but they,
I mean, I'm not against the one in Buckhorn, but I'm just
No.
saying we need one out 2 right here, because who's gonna go to Buckhorn?
well, Buckhorn, people go to
Yeah.
Buckhorn. And then we'll come here, which might relieve this one. And it'll encourage more. The closer you are to one, the more you're gonna use it.
So which reason we need 2 here?
Okay.
Get one in the traffic park, around J&E. Maybe they use that.
I think, let me go through that. Yeah. Okay, I see it.
That it? Okay, moving on then to item 10, old business. 10A, consider vacant council seat. For those of you that were present, y'all heard it. For those of you that were not present, you obviously didn't take of that. The council interviewed 3 candidates for the vacant seat 4, which is not the elected seat, it's the appointed seat for the duration of this current term that goes through October. Ms. Sheila Fields vacated seat. And there were a total of 6 candidates. 1 withdrew yesterday, leaving 5. Of those 5, 3 were able to meet with us today and conduct their interviews. They were very brief and very short. I won't give my opinion of that, so you can develop your own opinion, but 2 of the remaining candidates are scheduled, are in the process of being scheduled because of their vacations this year. And they had no way of knowing prior or conflict of scheduling, so this council is willing to afford them the opportunity to be heard as well next Tuesday evening. We initially said at 4:30, but now we've moved that, correct me if I'm wrong, to 5, to allow this council to be a part of the new principal celebration at 4 p.m. that same evening over at the high school. And then there are qualifiers for the election. You heard Ms. Dishman talking about we have 12 qualifiers. And the 12 you were referring to was all next term qualifiers.
Will be two places that we will fill tonight. Place 5.
2 of those
Place
12
2.
are unopposed positions, and we have resolutions appointing those 2 tonight. So Tim, you can't back up now, it's too late, so. We'll be moving on that here very shortly. Item 10B.
Have a motion.
Okay.
Move it up here. Obviously, we did something wrong last time, so we're going to correct it. And I'd like to make a motion to appoint Councilman Pittman as Mayor Pro Tem for city.
Second.
A motion and a second. And what this is to make the paperwork right here, where we have 3 out of 5 being a majority vote. My vote's going to be consistent with what my vote was last time, so I'm going to go ahead and I'll be the last one to vote.
Either that, we're going to remove them, wouldn't it?
So the motion is to appoint Councilman Pittman as Mayor Pro Tem for the balance of this term. City of Woodland. And we have a motion and a second. Any discussion before we vote there? Hearing none, we're ready for roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Warren,
Aye.
Councilmember Cole,
Yes.
Councilmember Clendenin,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Pittman,
Oh, thank
Mayor
And
Beard.
for consistency, mine will abstain, but that's the 3 votes, so that makes it right. That is a majority of 5, so. Thank you for that motion. Moving on to item 11A, consider resolution. We have several of these resolutions, so we're going to go through them pretty fast here unless somebody really wishes to discuss these. Item 11A, consider resolution appointing poll workers for 2012. Understand we have a motion, Councilman?
Yes, I do. That's a good. I make a motion to vote individually on each person on resolution 2012-5, appointing election officers with an overall vote on resolution 2012-5 with deletions if any.
Okay,
Make sense?
makes sense to me. And the council understands that the purpose of this, the effort is just to allow anybody to individually vote yea or nay, where you don't have to vote as a whole group, so you can vote. We can't think of the words when you hitchhike it, one bill and another bill, and you gotta vote for a bad bill to get a good bill.
Come on, somebody tell us, you know how they do it in politics? You get a real good, what?
Piggyback.
Now, neither one of those, but yeah, they'll have a terminology when you do that. But anyway,
Yes, sir.
I second.
all those in favor with an aye?
Aye.
Any opposed with a nay? Motion carries with 5 ayes.
Oh, we got it.
So if you'll begin the list, let me do it.
I'll call them out for this motion. Let me have that.
Just a second.
Or can I call them for a vote?
It don't matter, maybe.
No, ma'am? Okay. Carol Stahl.
We have a motion, a resolution appointing Carol Stiles poll worker for 2012 election. All those in favor with an aye?
Aye.
Any opposed with a nay? Now, hold still. That's 3 ayes. Was that, did you vote him? That's 4 ayes. Okay, 5 ayes. Okay. I'm sorry, I just didn't, you count that.
Okay. That's a good, okay. Linda Thompson.
Ms. Linda Thompson is poll worker. All those in favor with an aye?
Aye.
Aye. 5 ayes.
Miles Perry.
Poll worker for 2012, Miles Perry. All in favor?
Aye.
Gene Pollard.
Gene Pollard. Poll workers. All those in favor with an aye?
Aye.
Francis Nelson.
Ms. Francis Nelson, poll worker for 2012 election. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Andy Nelson.
Danny Nelson, poll worker, 2012 election. All those in favor?
Aye.
Nay. So that moves with 4 ayes and one nay.
Larry Morris.
And Larry Morris. Not Larry Morgan, Larry Morris.
Okay.
We're still Larry Morris right now. All those, Larry Morris. All those in favor?
Aye.
And Penny Cooper.
And Penny Cooper, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition to any of those that was not announced, anybody that didn't have the opportunity to do so, anybody wishing different from what we wrote to do?
The way I wrote my motion, now we have to have an overall vote on it, the way I wrote it, with any changes. There was no changes.
Okay, you have a motion then to accept the overall?
Yep.
Second?
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor?
Aye.
And nay. 4 ayes and 1 nay. Okay. Moving along, on 11B, consider resolution setting compensation for absentee election manager in the 2012 election. And we've got Ms. Dishman up here with us to make sure we get these things signed and returned to her in proper order. Do we have a motion?
I do. Have a
Yes, sir.
motion to accept the resolution setting compensation for absentee election manager for 2012 election as the city clerk.
Have a motion, if you're second the motion.
I second.
Motion and second. Any discussion before we vote thereof? Hearing none. All those in favor with an aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed with a nay? Motion carried with 5 ayes. let's pass this one back. Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't, we're at item 11C, consider resolution and certificate of election. Council place 2, Mr. Tim McRae had no opposition for council seat 2, so thereby Mr. Tim McRae is appointed as the successful candidate for council seat 2. Is that the right way to say it, council?
Sounds good.
You have been elected.
Congratulations.
Haven't had a motion yet, I just presented it. Somebody's got the motion, did they not?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution number 2012-07, declaring Tim McRae as duly elected to council seat number 2 and the certificate of election thereof.
Have a motion? Need a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions before we, discussion questions? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and move. All in favor with an aye?
Aye.
Opposed with nay. Motion carried, 5 ayes. 11D is the same thing, just a different name. One, you got it.
Move to approve resolution number 2012-08, declaring Jeff Clendenin as duly elected to council seat number 5 and the certificate of the election thereof.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion, question before we vote there? Hearing none, all those in favor with an aye? Aye. One abstention there, I'm sorry. Tim, you didn't even get to abstain, did you?
It's coming, don't worry.
Okay, that's item 11D. 11E, consider resolution for voters list appointee.
I have a motion to accept the resolution for the voters list appointee being the city clerk.
A motion, have a second to that motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing no discussion, I'll make a simple comment. The purpose of this is that with the mayor as the sitting incumbent mayor and the candidate as the mayor as well, it's not proper for the mayor to be in that position and responsible for that. So we've asked that be passed on. So motion's made and seconded. No discussion, no further discussion. All those in favor with an aye?
Aye.
All abstained, so it's five. So that was 4 ayes. 11F, consider ordinance on annexation. This is the 831 Avenue. If you're more familiar with the individuals, it's Lorraine and Jack E. Morrison on the backside of Pocono Park. Who had a petition for annexation, and I believe the maker of our motion is going to go ahead and move for item 9G as well, which is also for the adjacent property, contiguous property at 110 Longley Boulevard, which is Mr. Jack Morrison. So it's 2 contiguous properties that is contiguous with the current city limits. It gives us an expansion, and they are petitioning to come inside the corporate city limits.
I got a motion.
Have a motion?
To accept ordinance 2012-07 and 2012-08, annexation of 110 Walmy Drive and 830 Warner Avenue into the city of Lee.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions, discussion before we vote there? Hearing none, all those in favor with an aye?
Aye.
Any opposed with a nay? Motion carried with 5 ayes. That was item 9F and G. I'm sorry, 11, F and G. 11H, consider contract for electronic counter technician. Have a motion?
I got it. A motion to pay the electronic voter counter technician $400 for a contract to be signed by Mayor Pro Tem Pickett.
Okay. Have a motion? Is that a form of motion? Okay. Have a second to that motion?
I wonder if that matters. Was there we got to say, we in discussion?
No.
Not yet, it's gonna be second.
Okay, second.
We have a second, then now we're open for discussion.
With Otis running, I don't know if it matters. You want me to?
Be the same reason as me, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not on the ballot.
think that'd be better than anyone else.
Okay, we got one on that motion now.
Okay, you want me to change that to be signed by you?
Well, I'm not gonna say that, because then it affects me.
Yes, ma'am.
It's somebody
Well,
else.
somebody's got to sign it.
No.
Yes, ma'am, we want you to change
We
it.
got our opponents, I can't sign it.
What we're talking about, so for the audience's understanding is, again, as the incumbent mayor or incumbent council person, to sign the approval of voter machine, it wouldn't be appropriate for us to be extending monies in a position where we could, so it's best that it's not seen that way. So we're making that arrangement.
Okay, read it again. A motion to pay the electronic vote counter technician we got 2 machines, $200 a machine, $400 per contract to be signed by Jeff Kennedy.
And it's standard, none of the meal, the only difference is because of conflict, she's not to be incriminated. Right. Okay, we got a motion and a second, any further discussion? Hearing no discussion? We'll vote thereof, an individual. Mr. Warren? That's your
Roll
vote.
call. That's what you're, roll call. You're asking.
Well, Otis and I are going to want the opportunity to abstain, so let's vote to vote at large.
Aye.
We'll just go down the line, okay?
Abstain.
Abstain, myself. Let's go. You're making the motion, so sure.
Oh, I vote for it, yes.
Yes, you are. Okay. You gonna abstain too? I don't know, council, y'all tell me what y'all want. I do.
We made a motion that Jeff signed the contract for the voting technician counter. Why not?
I vote yes.
Okay, that's what you need.
Okay, okay, we got affirmative majority.
Here, let's go back to Jeff.
Just voted for something for myself. There's no money involved. Just sign it.
What tangled webs we with. Now, that was the end of those items without the agenda amendment. Now, let's conclude the paperwork here before we move any further, please. Ms. Nishman, these go to you, and these are
Tim, you want to sign some of these things with me, man?
I'm good.
Is that proper?
City clerk, this resolution that I motioned that got second from Otis and got passed Lizzie, I don't know why, you just signed a new one.
I just permitted you.
Yes.
You put us all.
It ain't got Dempsey's name on it.
You just sign them, Bob.
You see the Stevens on there.
Well, I didn't have many of these.
This is not our norm.
These last two agendas,
Jeff, you want to sign?
You gonna sign one, Tim, aren't you?
I signed the whole thing.
Oh, both of you. Okay, Mr. Reese, are we squaring with you?
Well,
Kathy, satisfied? Okay. Okay, we're ready now to move to the amended item of 11I, candidate 4. So, Ms. Cole, you made that move, so
We made a motion that we put,
I have a motion here too.
I made a motion to amend the agenda, to put on the agenda the question and answer forum, candidate forum, to be held in the council chambers as requested by the Lions Club, date to be decided at a later date.
Okay, we have a amended agenda, and see, this reads, to amend the agenda, okay, this is to amend the agenda, which we have done, so
We've done that.
now we're prepared to move further than that with whatever the presentation is, what was the motion. Who makes the motion and what is the motion?
The motion is to have the Q&A held here in the council chambers by the, it was requested by the Lions Club.
So are you making that motion?
I'm making that motion.
I'll second.
I'll get a motion.
Okay, so Ms. Cole,
I got it right here.
Okay.
okay, so Ms. Cole is making a motion that there be a political forum hosted by the Lions Club to be held in this facility. That's the motion. Okay, we got a second to that motion. Okay, we're ready for discussion, questions.
Is this similar to what Anderson just had?
Yes.
Did they just have one?
No, we're not just moving some.
Is that a city facility
Yes.
also?
The Chamber of Commerce, I think, sponsored theirs.
Anyone else? Everybody waiting on me?
Call for question.
No, we're not. Oh, good question. If it's my turn, I'll be glad to go. We have, as you've heard Ms. Dishman say, that we have a total of 12 candidates for the upcoming election. Of those 12, 2 are unopposed. So that takes the 12 to 10. Is that correct? Now, we've had much discussion leading up to this point. We've had telephone calls made and conversations had. We've had unsolicited magazine articles in the municipal journal giving numerous cautions. I myself have been in discussion with Ms. Lori Lean, as well as some of you have been in discussion with Ms. Lori Lean. I don't know how we could have heard something so differently. But I'm with the impression, because of that public article that was unsolicited and printed, that it talks about biasness, it talks about political function, it talks about, and a number of things, but you heard the counselor ask just a minute ago, counsel, about did Aniston do that, and was it one of their facilities? I don't know, I didn't go through it. This was brought to us by way of Mr. Pierce initially. And then Mr. Pierce was granted permission to hold it outside in the park. And
No,
he took council with a lead to that extent.
no.
Well, Ms. Lean informed me otherwise, that she had taken counsel with her, and we've given him permission on multiple occasions to do so. And let me go hesitate at this point to say, if you can have, in my opinion, a fair, non-biased opportunity for the candidates and the residents to interface, I think it's great. I think it's absolutely great. I think all care and concern should be made that we are legal in using this structure, since it was unsolicited, that we're not supposed to use this structure for that purpose. And the way I interpret it, Mr. Pierce has certainly shown biasness in his campaigning and his political posturing. No question about that. Moving to the Lions Club. I'm not a member of the Lions Club. Perhaps I should be, because I believe in some of the things that they believe. But I'm reading from the Constitution of the Lions Club. It says, who are the Lions? And it talks about how they began to form. The idea was one of a service as a group to their fellow man without regard to politics, religion, race, or in any way the personal interest of its members. A community service organization that primarily looks after the less fortunate in the way of sight and sound impaired. The Constitution further goes by under Article 8, Section 3, partisan politics/religion. This club shall not endorse or recommend any candidate for public office, nor shall partisan politics or sectarian religion be debated by members in meetings of this club. You're welcome to have it. It's off the internet. Had I not been previously attacked by the Lions Club, I probably wouldn't bring this to question. But that's well recorded and documented in previous meeting minutes. So I question the biasness of what is in an effort to go on. But I think, nevertheless, if it's well done, if it's well handled, that it would be good for the people and the candidates. But my vote to use this facility for it will be in accordance with what I believe the law says. And I believe Ms. Lori Lean's article, and you're welcome to it. I'll be happy to share a copy of any of you with you. Just leave me your name, and I'll get that to you. I believe it talks to the contrary of that, so that's why my vote will be negative. But if this council wishes to choose differently, the mayor's one vote among 5 here.
May I speak?
Yes, I'm through.
Ms. Lean's, Lord Lean's article was pertaining to city employees. And the mayor made the statement that we're considered city employees because we do draw a paycheck. We are not city employees. And therefore, I don't see anything against the law that we can't have it in this council. I've not talked to her, but I've talked to another attorney down there for legal municipalities.
May I ask? Either one?
I don't remember his name.
There's 3 of them.
I know it, it's a man.
Mr. Ken, Tracy is on 2 members. Ken's the president, Tracy's the council.
It may have been Tracy. Because when I talked to them about it, we're not considered employees, not city employees. We are official, we are an appointed official or elected official of the city. And this is not biased because every candidate, whether they're running for re-election or running for the first time, are invited. nobody will be turned down. And if you don't want to do it, then all you have to do is say, I'd rather not be involved. No, I'm good.
I'm definitely for it, and even though I don't have a opponent, I would like to be part of it too. I don't have a problem with that. But I would encourage the Lions Club, when you put it together, unbiased. So,
You want to speak?
But it's up for the Lions Club.
Yes, I am.
Can we respond to some of this?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to keep it cool, as you say, also. I'm Ed Kimbrough, I'm a charter member of the Lions Club, I've been president of the Lions Club for several years. As a matter of fact, I invited Mayor Bearden to join that Lions Club right after he was elected, told him what it was. So I'm glad that you read the Constitution, and the door is still open. But we've had a political forum. We're not asking the city to sponsor this. We're asking to use the facilities. The city has nothing to do with this except allowing us to use this facility as you do other organizations, the park, the senior citizens, and everything. We had a Board of Education forum here. We used the Student Government Association, the president of the Student Government Association. We let them, all the candidates have an opening statement. We asked the audience to submit questions. We screened the questions so that they could be answered across the board, if everybody had the same opportunity. None of the questions could be aimed at any individual or embarrass any individual. As you said, Mayor, we are a service organization. When we were asked to sponsor this, we asked why not give the citizens of the city of Weaver the opportunity to hear their candidates firsthand. And this would be providing us a service to the citizens so that they can make a good choice on who they want to vote for. We have never been political. If one of our members has said something out, it wasn't. The Lions Club has never approved any political statement to be made on our behalf. Now, whether a member said something, that's different. And I resent very much the accusation that's been made here that we have become politically involved. We've contributed to this city. We've given money for the senior citizens. We buy glasses for our citizens here. We help the school. We give scholarships. We do everything that we can with a small group that we have. And I appreciate you allowing this to be on the agenda, the member that voted for that. And I hope that you will endorse this. And I assure you that we are non-political, and this will not in any way be an endorsement for any individual that's running for any office. Now, if you don't believe me, I'm very sorry for you, because you don't know me very well. And undoubtedly, you don't. Thank you.
Mr. Kimbrough, I'll respond before we go.
I don't need a response, sir.
Yes, sir, you deserve a response.
I'm also
Yes,
member of
sir,
Lions
you will be
Club.
given the opportunity as soon as equal response is given. Mr. Kimbrough, if you said, you know, it's necessary for us to work together as much as we can. In an effort to do that, it doesn't do either one of us any good to get our borough up and act in such a resented way, in a very offensive way. And no, sir, we're not going to go back and forth with this. You said your piece, I'm going to say my piece.
I'm just standing here to hear your response, sir.
There's opportunity given here. The only thing that bothers me personally is my understanding of what the league has recommended is that this council cannot provide this facility for political purpose. Now, the definition of that political purpose is a question. The way I interpret it is one way, the way Ms. Cole interprets it another way. We're two individuals. We're entitled to have different opinions. You're entitled to have your opinion. I'm entitled to have my opinion. But because you have an opinion, I'm not attacking you, sir. Have I?
You attack the organization.
Sir, it's well documented what happened here. So I'll leave that for you to get the minutes.
Provide it.
Yes, sir, I'll be glad to. Give me an address and I'll get it to you. May I have, where I sent it to?
I'll give it to you after.
Okay, then we'll get that up for you, please. So, there's no issues here between the Lions Club and here, no, the mayor. The question is my interpretation of the legality is different from others. We've tried to accommodate this in other cities so that we could avoid that question of legality. It's a simple matter of trying to do what's right. Nobody has said it can't be done. I question the legality of it occurring in here by the authority of this council. And that's all.
Thank you. We checked with it when we had ours, when we had the county board of education members here. And so their opinion must have changed.
I don't know. I didn't write that article, so. Now, sir, would you like to?
I'm just saying, I'm a member of the Lions Club, also past president, okay? And the thing you said about the Lions Club is totally false, okay? We, like I say, we're not a political organization.
What did I say about the Lions Club?
That we are not supposed to help people to vote and so forth. And that's not what-
No, sir, I didn't say that. I read your constitution. I didn't say
I
that.
think you ought to read the bylaws of the Constitution before you go into what you find on the internet, okay? You know, I would be more than glad to provide a copy to you, okay, and you.
Is that not your bylaws?
I don't know, I haven't seen it.
Please.
I haven't seen it.
Please.
This looks like a general copy of bylaws that they're trying to put out to everybody, but all it is a creed, that's all it is, okay? Okay? But, you know, we're not going to do a political thing where we're going to vote for individuals or have anybody vote. We want everybody to talk and have a fair say, you know? And I would like a copy of the same thing about what's going on with the Lions Club and, you know, the city hall here, but, okay, I'll be my answer.
Yes, that'd be great. Okay, great. Anybody else? I mean, we're not going to prohibit somebody. Pierce?
I'm a little confused as to what part of the meeting we're at, because there have been so many
11
comments.
and we
Okay.
afforded the audience the opportunity.
Okay, so we haven't come to the public comments. Well, if
We have not.
okay.
Would you have public comments?
I'd like to make a reply to something you said.
In regards to this subject?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm confused, Mr. Bearden. Did I understand you correctly when we first started this discussion, that you said we could use the public park?
Yes, sir.
I don't remember you saying that. And does anybody else remember the mayor saying that?
If they don't, they had something in their ears.
He said
You
that.
remember the mayor saying that? All right. Then I must be confused, because what I heard at the city council meeting, I believe it was on June 6th, the mayor's comments, he thought this discussion, this subject was, I believe the word he used was silly. Does anybody remember that? I do.
What did you say?
I said, at the meeting, I believe it was on the 26th, I believe. Mayor's comments portion, and I believe he said that the, pardon me, the discussion of a question and answer form was silly. That's the word you used. Maybe we need to go back and check that.
No, they don't archive the tapes.
Well, that's what you said. I don't understand how anyone could say that discussion of this subject is silly. I want to make one other comment here in relation to reinforce the point of that. Last week in Anniston, in City Council Ward 4, in a city of less than 25,000 people, over 500 citizens attended a city council question and answer form for one city council ward. Over 500 people city of less than 25,000. Now, if that's not a clear example of public enthusiasm for this type of activity, I can't think of anything else. And I can only ascertain that the citizens in our city would have that same interest. Now, I've grown weary of replying to my political bias. I've made it clear since, well, I first started talking about this back in February. And I wrote an article for the Speak Out section of the Star in March. And I have made it clear in every discussion you and I have had, Mr. Beard, that I support Mr. Willis for mayor. I say that again this evening. But that does not mean that I'm going to influence the questions that the citizens are going to ask. First of all, that's just not logical. Am I going to go around town and tell everybody, hey, listen, I want you to ask a question like this because I support Wayne Willis? It just doesn't make any sense. Okay? Well, you can laugh all you want.
Mr. Pierce, maybe that's what it was that was silly, this conversation.
Now, you use the word silly, Mr. Beard, and like I said, I've grown tired about this. And probably this is the most important thing of all. I just thought of this a couple days ago. This isn't about you. There are several candidates running for office. Mr. Warren is being opposed by Mr. Dempsey. Mr. Pippin is being opposed by Mr. Campbell, Mr. Hill. Mrs. Cole is being opposed by Mrs. Stevens. It's about these candidates, but most importantly, it's about the citizens of Weaver. This is not about you. This is not about me. I mean, how can I make this any clearer? That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Mr. Pierce, I don't disagree with what you just said. It's not about me. But I'm not going to knowingly violate something that, I say knowingly, something that I feel I have been led by belief that this is illegal. I'm not going to condone or participate in that, sir. And it doesn't have anything to do with you or I. It's just my commitment to what I believe, what I understand. We're not going to go back and forth, sir. You had your opportunity. I'm going to say my piece, and we're going to move on.
I'm going to reply to what you're saying.
No, sir. Yes,
I am.
Sir, we're ready to move on. We're not going to go back and forth on that long. You said your piece. It's not about me. So, sir, if the council, I have tried to facilitate this. You said yourself there may be hundreds of people, and I agree there may be. This facility will not handle hundreds of people. The best place to have this is where we can assemble in that larger group.
I'm glad you brought
And we
that
can
up.
have some form of security as well.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Sir, we're not.
Because I have attempted to make arrangements with the high school, and you said you have not allowed the police to provide security. I have asked you time and
No,
time
sir.
again for
No,
constructive
sir.
criticism.
Don't say
on
things
this.
that are not true.
You did.
What I said, Ms. Cole, the city should not have to bear the expense of a private function.
You said that you would not allow the police to provide security.
Sir, I'm not going to allow the city to provide security for a private function. If that's what I said, that's what I said, sir.
You
And that still
proposed
holds
it at
true.
the high school, you have proposed security at the First United Methodist Church. We're running out of places, okay? Now, all of these forms that are taking place in Anniston are taking place either in public facilities or churches. And Ms. Laura Camper wrote an article in the Star today listing all of the places where they're
So
taking
we're ready
place.
to vote.
Well, yeah, that's all I have to say.
Anybody else?
Yes, I would like to say
That's-
something. When I started. I just encourage the Lions Club to be fair across the board. I don't think it's illegal to have it here. I think it would be wrong if they were questions that were to attack someone, and that shouldn't happen. And if it does happen and I'm participating in it, I will.
I've got to comment on that one. I was over here one time when y'all had them, they had little sheets of paper. You wrote your
Yeah.
question on there, and they went through all the questions to make sure that there was not
That's
anybody
exactly
asking
right. That's what
anything
I- that's
toward
what
any certain person.
I'm for it, it needs to be done right. That's all. And I trust it.
Well, that's how they done it. You dropped in that box, and they went through it.
Yes, sir.
We've been trying to guess who you are up here, we don't know, we're so.
Well, Jack Brim, 26-year resident of Weaver, Chamber Board member, on the committee for this political voice for business for Calhoun County. This would be a great forum for the citizens of this county, of this city, to have an opportunity. It was done very fair, very fair. Questions went out to every one of these councilmen going forward. They're doing another one Tuesday, August 8th for Ward 1. And every one of these, Anderson Star is helping with this. Mayor, it was a great opportunity for the three of you to hear, for each one of us to hear what you think on certain things, how you work together. I wish I could have the questions for you. They were great questions. All 5 candidates did a wonderful job. Had equal opportunity, and I think every one of the 5 would tell you the same thing. But, you know, like I said, they're doing the mayor of the city of Annis and the city meeting center. But there's no reason why. I mean, yes, we'd love to have Chief Bush here for that, but there's no reason why not to do it. It'd be a great opportunity for this city. Great opportunity. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Mr. Jack, may I call you Mr. Jack?
Yes, sir.
It's not the article that I wrote, it's not my determination, it's how I interpret what I read.
Well, part of our responsibility as elected officials is we got to be open-minded, Mr. Mayor, about these things. This will give you a great opportunity to answer questions about the other 2 candidates. Instead of letting just these few people, you'll give an opportunity for other people to hear. But I promise you it'll be fair. I promise you it'll be fair.
Will you assist them? Are you a member of the Lions Club?
Nope. I'm a big supporter of the Lions Club.
Could you assist them in that? If you've
I
been
assure you I can assist them. And we can even get a moderator. The Addison Star gentleman did a wonderful job. If we can get the dates right, because we're also doing it for Piedmont, we're doing it for Ohatchee, we're doing it for Jacksonville. We don't need one to be left out, and we don't need to be the one that we get wrote up in the paper that there was an issue about it. Let's work together to make this city go forward, folks. Cut the bitterness out and let's go forward. There's a great opportunity. You've got good people here. Let's make it happen. And I know it can be frustrating on your part at times, but you got to get by that. You have a responsibility as the mayor, the leader of this city. Lead by example.
Thank you, sir.
The only thing I differ with what you just said is because I interpret something one way doesn't make it good. And I'm sorry.
It's what you project, Mr. Mayor.
I'm sorry that my body language may say that, but because I interpret, if you read something one way, I may read it different. And I have been led by the lead to believe it that way as well. So,
By the lead.
yes, sir. By Ms.
Thank
Lori-
you so much for this.
Specifically, Ms. Lori Lane, and I'll be happy to give you.
I know what.
I would like to call a question.
Call a question.
Call a question.
Motion is. You made the motion, Ms. Cole. The motion is to, no, you don't have that motion.
No, Mike wrote it out.
Permit Weaver Lions Club to sponsor a candidate forum to be held in Weaver Council Chambers at a date to be specified.
Second. No, I can't second.
Mike seconded it.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded.
Mike Ellis.
We've had plenty of open discussion. Open discussion, well, unless somebody just had to be heard. Okay, we're ready for a vote. Roll call vote, please, clerk.
Councilmember Warren,
Aye.
Councilmember Cole,
Yes.
Councilmember Clendenin,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Pippin, Mayor Beard.
I'm going to qualify once again. When you talk about leadership, leadership is not selling out to what you don't believe in. Leadership is being committed to what you believe in. I haven't changed my interpretation of what I have read or have been led to believe by the leader. I have tried to facilitate this event to occur in a setting where it would not put any of us at risk of that. This council is choosing to do otherwise, and this is council's prerogative to do so. Well, I will not change my vote because I'm giving up my conviction, and I'm not leaving. So, for those of you here, you will still hear my leadership, that I believe what I have been led to believe and interpret to believe is still my conviction. So my vote is no, for that reason. Now, motion carries 4-1. So, is that, I don't know where the bitterness comes in when we have to fight over everything. We're all entitled to a vote. I'm entitled to my opinion, you're entitled to your opinion. Why can't we give our opinions without getting bitter at each other? Amen. Public comments for general items. Go ahead.
The Heritage Day will be September the 29th in the park. If there's anybody in the city or the city council who would like to help, please let us know.
Does that date match the previous date?
Yes, last Saturday in September.
I said the 25th on Sunday. What was it?
29th.
There it is.
We learned earlier,
Did it say 20?
we learned earlier that businesses within the city might be interested in setting up booths and things like that. Would you contact the businesses, please?
We usually give them all an invitation.
All right, we-
So, yeah, they do give them all information.
Okay.
We will. We haven't gave them one yet this year.
Okay.
We haven't sent them out.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Any other public comments? Ms. Pierce?
Thank you.
Mr. Jordan, I know you and I have gone round and round and round about this since February. But I sincerely hope, even though you oppose only this year, that you attend. You are the mayor of the city, you are a candidate running for election, you have a point of view. I believe the citizens deserve the opportunity to hear this point of view. I think it would be a significant loss for you not to be here. In particular, a significant loss of an opportunity for the citizens to hear your point of view. So I can't make that any clearer. Okay? I would even be willing, because you and I have gone around and round about this so much, to not promise not to ask any questions of that. To do nothing but sweep the mop the floor afterwards and pick up the chair. But I really do want you to participate. And I can't make that. Of everybody here this evening, I can't make that any clearer. Please attend and please participate.
Thank you, Ms. Pierce. Yes, sir. Sure can.
Just a good example, if you would like, Thursday night at the Highland Community Center, they're going to do Ward 3. Come see how they're going to do it. Give you an idea of what to look forward to. They're going to do it August, Ward 3 is August the 26th at the Highland Community Center. The mayor is August 7th at 5:30, Anniston City Meeting Center. Ward 2 will be July 31st. It's something Baptist Church. It's abbreviated. I'm not sure about that. But it'll give you, I can give you the dates and give them the dates so it doesn't conflict. But it gives you an opportunity if this council would like to go see, what to expect. But that forum was held very well, very professional, and the candidates did a great job. And the Anniston Star gentleman that was the moderator did a great job. They were timed out, everything was very well, done very good. I hope that makes you feel better, but it was good. It was a good opportunity for
We
us.
have a slot, a field of 10 candidates, and I trust that it will be equal and uniform, everybody have an opportunity and so forth. I would also encourage whoever is doing this to consider a backup, because I don't think these walls are going to hold. As you've already mentioned yourself, and we're going to end up being out there where I was offering to start with.
Well, could we do it at the high school? Would you like to make an amendment to it if if we see that, if we know, if we get this started?
That would avoid the legal issue for sure.
Excuse me, Greg has looked into that, and at the time, Ms. Shipp was the principal. She said she would have to have security, and they did not have a PA system.
Shoot, they got Mike Ellison, now, big man. That's a security.
Could I make another comment, please?
Sure.
At the forum in Golden Springs the other night, there was an innocent police officer there on duty. I spoke to this police officer, and I said, well, why are you here tonight? He said, we provide security. And I asked him, well, who directed you to be here? And he said, the chief of police in Anniston. So, I'm laying all this in your lap.
I think if you see it's gonna be real big and you're getting a lot of participation, look to go to the school, move it there, then whatever. If it's not, let's have it here. Let's go. You're gonna get.
Would there be a problem in this security issue at the high school? This is something that we had discussed earlier. What's your position on this?
This is not a dictatorship where the mayor, Gary Bennett, says, this is what we're going to do. You have been here so much to know that it's a council decision.
Okay.
I have one opinion, each of us have an opinion. There's 5 of us, 6 of us at times. We're going to have differing opinions. That's inevitable. We're going to believe differently. We vote our conscience and we move on.
But you said you wouldn't allow the police to provide
sir.
security.
It's my belief that it would not be prudent for me as an administrator of the city to spend, particularly in such harsh times, spend the citizens' monies in security services that otherwise we wouldn't have to do. Now, if there's somebody on duty in the park already, you know, you're creating a situation though where we get them out of their element. We got to have 4 or 5 officers. We got to have parking lot security. We got to have indoor security, outdoor security. Sir, there's a lot more involved in all that, but the decision has been made. Let's move on.
Okay.
I'm not the one that keeps belingering this on. The decision had been made by the majority, even though I disagreed.
You keep mentioning the city park. It's going to be right in the middle of August. It's going to be very hot out there. It needs to be held indoors. It needs to be held indoors. If the point here, pardon me, let me come up.
If the
point here,
Just a second. All those in favor with aye? Aye. Opposed, and stay.
are we done with the public comment section?
Motion was made and seconded. Unless somebody wants
Are we
to
done with the
say
public comment section?